Vashon Flowers, who was facing charges for murder. A disagreement about smoking led Vashon to fatally shoot his wife, Jamie Thomas Flowers.
This is a sociopath that has to be taken off the streets. We fully intend to get justice for Jamie.
Now in court, the daughter of the victim tells the court what happened.
He was irritable and said that he was a grown man. If he wanted to buy cigarettes, he would buy cigarettes. And he got down on the ground and started choking my mother. Actually, I heard, "You don't have to do this, Vashon. Please don't do this. You don't have to do this." And then I heard gunshots.
Do you recall how many you heard?
4. I got up and I left out of the room. She was sitting straight up against the wall.
Did you observe some blood?
Yes, on her shirt. Gunshots, bullet holes in her shirt and blood.
But during the sentencing, London Thomas, the son of the victim, couldn't hold himself. Vashon was eventually sentenced to life imprisonment. Before we hit the courtroom for our next story, we're going to take you back to the beginning of the defendant's journey.
I did try to rob John's drive-thru. Got shot 3 times. I did the crime, I ain't gonna lie. I just wanted to live.
So John, what'd you do with the pistol that you had in there? Because you know, it's my understanding when you were running in there, you started pulling out and the guy saw it.
Right, but I didn't even get it out.
You were going for it though, right?
But I didn't even get it out. He shot me regardless.
Well, I think he's well aware that you've been robbing places at gunpoint or so.
I've never robbed anybody. That's the first one I've ever done.
Now hang on a second. Now you and I have been straight with each other every time we've met each other, okay?
Yeah.
I knew there was more to it than that.
I pulled it out. I pulled the weapon out. But I don't think I got it all the way out.
Well, he saw you, that's why he shot you.
Hand is indicted on 30 charges connected to a string of business break-ins at gunpoint. He confesses to a series of armed robberies.
There have been probably a half a dozen or more robberies. Now you're looking at John's, you're looking at this break-in to this beauty salon.
That's all I did.
The beauty salon's a bonus because I didn't even know anything about that, and you told me that.
I'm going to prison for a long time.
Well, you know that.
Now Hand sits in a Clark County courtroom in Ohio, where a judge has...
You just gave me 40 years.
You'll see he came prepared for the worst.
You just gave me 40 years. Well, guess what?
Look closely. Hand reaches into his arm sling and pulls out some cloth that was hiding a small bottle filled with his own feces and urine.
A Springfield man possibly facing new charges tonight after he throws urine and feces on his attorney in court.
Our policy dictates that there's a search prior to and a search after he leaves, and that was very apparently not done.
In addition to his previous charges, he now faces charges of harassment with bodily fluids, obstructing justice, and retaliation. But at least someone was enjoying the show. Next, we take you to a hearing inside the Owsley County Courthouse in Boonville, Kentucky, where the judge sent everyone in the courtroom to spend 30 days in jail.
So everybody gets 30 days of contempt.
You want me to bring her back?
What you all thought this was, but this isn't going to happen in my courtroom.
Let's find out why. The defendant is Shane Bird, who's charged with driving under the influence. Presiding judge is William Bo Leach.
One call on docket.
An attorney to review charge.
Bird's hearing just ended, and the defendant, who's off camera, has agreed to pay a restitution fine of $500 to a woman he injured while driving under the influence. The issue seems settled, but not so fast. The blonde woman sitting in the back of the courtroom is Ingrid Bird, the defendant's wife, and sitting in the row directly in front of her is the victim's mother, Peggy Gabbard. Judge Leach is ready to begin the next case when suddenly this happened. Moments earlier, the gallery seemed calm.
Call on docket.
Then, things quickly turned ugly.
Seatbelt. All right.
It's not not clear who took the first swing, but that woman on the left with the brown hair is Gabbard, the victim's mother, and she lands a solid right. The unidentified woman in the stripes appears to step in on behalf of the defendant's wife.
Let her go!
The man approaching the fight in the orange jumpsuit is Shane Bird, the defendant. After a few minutes, his wife, Ingrid Bird, is removed from the scene and orders restored. But the incident is far from over, as Judge Leach is not happy.
Everybody that was in there, the lady with the red purse, you need to go to the jury box. Who else was involved in that fight?
I ain't got no red.
All right.
The judge is not allowing any of the participants to leave.
Red purse, I told you to come up here. Put him right there. Put him in that front row. Who else was in that? Where's my law enforcement on that?
And don't think the judge has forgotten about the defendant.
You fell over here that got up out of the jury box. All right, Shane Bird. And who else is there? Y'all got names on everybody that was in that? You got up out of the jury box, and I told you not to when you were running over there saying that was your wife. So, everybody that was in that's getting 30 days in jail on contempt. Lady back there.
The judge has ordered everyone involved to spend 30 days in jail.
Fool in my courtroom, you're all going to have something else coming. So, everybody gets 30 days for contempt.
You want me to bring her back?
What you all thought this was, but this isn't going to happen in my courtroom. Fight in a court of law. You are out of your mind. You are out of your mind if you think you're going to try to stop anything in court. We got bailiffs in here to do it. And you're sitting in there in jail right now, and I just probated not to stop a fight while you're in handcuffs. This is insane.
The incident ends with at least 4 people being charged with contempt, including the victim's mother, Peggy Gabbard, the defendant, Shane Bird, the woman in the striped shirt, and Shane Bird's wife, Ingrid. She was also hit with an additional charge of assault. Judge Leach gets back to work, but not before sending a final warning.
Breaks out anything today, you're going to get 6 months in jail on contempt. And if you all want to try me, you wait and see if you don't get 6 months in jail.
Next, let's head to Jefferson Circuit Court in Louisville.
Objections notice overruled. Motion's granted.
Satterley's attorney warns his client to stay calm after hearing.
Wait, bring him back, please.
And you can go yourself too.
Next, we go to the Broward County Courthouse in Fort Lauderdale, Florida,
You've been charged with 2 counts of violating an injunction.
where Christopher Colon appears for his bond hearing via video before Judge John Hurley.
Court finds probable cause.
Colon was arrested and charged with 2 counts of violating a restraining order in a domestic violence case related to his ex-girlfriend. He also has an open pending case in which he's being charged for aggravated battery against a pregnant woman, his current girlfriend.
I think I remember you from before coming into this courtroom.
Yes, sir.
I remember.
Less than a month ago, Colon posted bond in the aggravated battery case and went free. So the judge isn't exactly thrilled to see him again.
You're already out on bond. You're already out.
Yes,
on...
sir. And my bondsman is willing to take me out again on a bond.
That's very kind of him, but that won't be necessary today because you're.
Well,
not
I'll see you
in
guys.
there.
Well, I'll see you guys in with a lawyer and a lawsuit too.
Oh, okay. Oh, wait, bring him back, please.
And you can go yourself too.
Colon storms off.
Would you bring him back for me, please?
Hey. Judge, he's back.
Hi. Good morning again, Mr. Colon.
Good morning to you.
Yes, sir. Wait, Mr. Colon. Yeah, don't mute that. Could you turn that mic back on for me? Turn the mic back on.
You guys can. Okay? I'm being dead ass real.
$125,000. Your bond on count 2 will be $125,000. Your total
How much is my bond?
$250,000.
Okay, no problem. I can bond out, man.
Court will also order, sir, on case 14-7168 CF10, you'll be held without bond. That bond is revoked.
With the amount seemingly no issue, the judge has just taken away the bond from the aggravated battery case, meaning Cullen will not be able to go free this time, and this really sets him off.
Like I said, you guys why you guys had it.
Sir, the court at this time is inclined to hold you in contempt of court.
I don't give a Go ahead, I got lawyers, man. Look here, man. I don't got nothing to say, man.
Now, I will find you in contempt of court for disrupting this court. Now, I will give you
was already going to find me in contempt of court anyway,
an
man.
opportunity. Is there anything you'd like to say?
You ain't no Hitler, man, for me to have to salute.
Noting that you made no comments in your defense, the court at this time will sentence you to 364 days in the Broward County Jail. Thank you very much. Have a
that's why.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Yes, Mr. Cologne, please.
A week later, Cullen is back in front of the judge.
Judge Harley, I apologize. What I did, I was wrong. And not only I was wrong for cursing you out, of the deputies hearing me curse you out, I apologize to them too. Your Honor, I apologize real bad, and I'm asking for my apology, please, Your Honor.
Okay, the apology's accepted. It will be converted to time served at this time.
Cullen's apology gets that additional year sentence for contempt cut down to time served, but still gets no bond on the aggravated battery case and serves almost 14 months before he's released. Next, we head down arrested and charged with making death threats against a judge whom he mistakenly believes took his children. Next, we go back to 2007 for a sentencing in Houston, Texas. 19-year-old Dexter Johnson was found guilty of capital murder. A year earlier, Johnson and 4 accomplices carjacked 23-year-old Maria Aparici while she sat in her vehicle with boyfriend Hyung-Oh, age 17. After robbing the couple, the group drove the victims to a wooded area where Johnson raped Maria. Then he and one of his accomplices walked the couple deeper into the woods and executed them. Johnson admitted taking part in the crime, but claimed he was not the shooter. A jury found him guilty. Now in front of a packed courtroom filled with family members of both the defendant and the victims, Johnson is about to learn his sentence.
Dexter Johnson, the jury has found you guilty of capital murder. In accordance with the laws of the state of Texas, this court hereby assesses your punishment of death. Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, this is going to complete your jury service. I'm going to meet you in the jury room.
All rise.
A devastated Johnson remains seated while his family reacts to the sentence. When, suddenly, Johnson springs from his seat, knocking over a computer monitor, and then makes a move in the direction of the victim's family. Pandemonium has taken over the court, sending one attorney under the desk. Several officers surround Johnson, while others try to keep the gallery at bay. Eventually, Johnson was restrained and removed from the court. But the mayhem spills out into the hallway. One family member is so upset, she requires medical attention. After 12 years of failed appeals, a federal judge issued a stay just 24 hours before the execution date. The reason? Johnson's attorney argued he was intellectually disabled and therefore ineligible for the death penalty. The case continues to be argued, and Johnson still remains on death row. 3 of Johnson's accomplices received sentences of life in prison with no chance of parole, while a 4th was sentenced to 25 years. Next, we go to the Clark County Superior Court in Vancouver, Washington, for the sentencing of Matthew Hastings. He's been convicted of 4 counts of attempted murder and 2 counts of second-degree assault. Hastings shot and seriously wounded Corporal Chris LeBlanc during a 20-hour standoff with Vancouver police. The trial judge is John Woolley, and the maximum sentence is 120 years behind bars. At first, things appear to be civil.
Mr. Hastings, is there anything you wish to say, sir?
No, Your Honor.
But then, things quickly take a turn.
Mr. Hastings, did you graduate from high school, sir?
No.
Okay, let me give you a little thumbnail sketch of the American system of government. Mr. Hastings, don't press your luck with me, son. Don't press your luck with me.
Or what? You gonna sentence me? Is that what you gonna do?
You know what, Mr. Hastings? I am.
Okay.
Let me tell you why.
I don't really want to care why. Just get on with
You shut your damn mouth, sir.
Oh, I'm not gonna shut my mouth.
Next time, I'm gonna have you gagged.
You're gonna have me gagged, huh?
You're right, I am.
Have me gagged.
Mr. Hastings, based upon your conduct in this court, your conduct in the community, I am accepting the state's recommendation.
Good. Thank you. I'll take another.
Mr. Hastings is in contempt of court at this point, Counselor. May I see the attorneys back in chambers for a moment, please?
Perhaps with the judge out of the room, Hastings would cool off a bit. But he's not through, because he's just noticed a few of his arresting officers in the back of the courtroom. Now they're in Hastings' crosshairs.
You're a failure. Your little partner allegedly got shot.
A court officer steps over in case things escalate.
Oh, you wanted to convict me. Bitch. You'll want me out there on the streets.
Stay seated.
After a few minutes, Judge Woolley returns to the courtroom.
For the record, Mr. Hastings, I see no reason not to stick with the decision I made.
Absolutely. I'm thankful for that, Your Honor. That's great.
You're wasting your time with me now, Mr. Hastings. I know how to handle a guy like you. The only thing I can say to you on behalf of all the citizens of this community, bye-bye.
Thank you. That's great. Is that it? 2 words? Bye-bye?
Try to push my button, son? These police officers have been told by me that they're not to react.
Oh, really?
Mr. Buckley, you
want me to make this police react? Is that what you're saying?
Of course, Your Honor.
Is that what you want?
Put Mr. Hastings back in his chair until we are concluded.
Or?
Hold on.
Don't call my bluff.
You're really helping your case in front of the Court of Appeals. They're going to see this entire record, sir.
Hey, they're going to see your entire record, too. They're going to see how you're running your mouth, Your Honor. Bye-bye. We know how to handle kids like you, son. Okay. Yeah, they're going to see that, too. Remember, you're on record just like me. Pops.
And believe it or not, on this issue, Hastings was right. After this incident, and a few others like it, Judge Woolley was reprimanded for his conduct by a state commission. But that didn't change Hastings' fate. He's still got the maximum sentence, and he's currently serving 120 years in a state prison. This is Deleon Brown. He is facing murder charges related to the death of his girlfriend, Nitisha Lattimore, and the death of her 3-year-old son, Nilo, in December 2020. Police said Nitisha was stabbed multiple times, and her remains were found in a body bag near the river. The child's body has not been found, but police believe Brown tossed the boy into the river. Deleon Brown was sitting in a courtroom in Ohio for a motion hearing when the grieving father attacked the man accused of killing his son and his son's mother. Nilo's father, Tonio Hughes, ran to the defense table where he began to punch Mr. Brown in the head. Mr. Hughes was later pinned to the ground by deputies.
Base, can we get back up in 560 now? Scott?
He tried to get back up again and attack Deleon, but authorities managed to get him out of the courtroom. If convicted, Deleon Brown could face the death penalty. As for the father, he was found in contempt of court and was sentenced to 7 days behind bars at the local Hamilton County Justice Center.
Each holiday, each moment, each season that goes by is very painful because, like I said, we miss our daughter, we miss our grandson. We feel empty without them.
But this wasn't the only time families snapped in court. Like in the case of Diamond Alvarez, Diamond's mother, who's in court for the trial of 19-year-old Frank Deleon Jr., who fatally shot their 16-year-old daughter 22 times. On January 11, 2023, Diamond was walking her dog when Frank fatally shot her. Police investigations revealed that the two had been in a relationship and were on the verge of a breakup. Frank was promptly arrested. If you thought Frank would show remorse for his crimes, be prepared for his jaw-dropping conduct during the proceedings. In court, Diamond's mother tells the man who had wickedly ended her daughter's life how she felt.
What I'm going through is not a life. I just want peace. That's what I want.
As she was giving her statement, Frank smirked at her. Enraged, Diamond's mother went to confront him. But before she could make it to the smirking murderer, the situation escalated. Diamond's uncle jumped in from the gallery and attacked Frank. Frank's mother rushed to his defense by attacking Diamond's mother, prompting Diamond's aunt to go after her. Eventually, the police were able to separate the two families. Following the brawl, Diamond's mother told the media,
It was wrong of me. That was wrong of us because we're not monsters. But it's so big because I want my daughter back. And what he did was horrible. Seeing my daughter there and looking at him that he did that and he's laughing and it was very wrong, and I'm so sorry for that.
In the end, Frank accepted a plea deal and was sentenced to 45 years in prison.
My diamond got adjusted. And that's all I was fighting. Justice. And as a mother, I would needed justice. Quick, soon. That a year and 9 months was a long time just waiting at home with my arms crossed. She has her justice. I wasn't fighting for me. I was fighting for my daughter. I have to watch videos and pictures to remember. I just want peace.
But this wasn't the only time parents snapped because of how the killer was acting in court. Like during the sentencing of 18-year-old Payton Gendron, who's facing multiple charges for murder.
Oh my God, he shot so many people in there.
On May 14, 2022, Payton, a white supremacist, opened fire in a black-dominated Tops-Friendly market store in New York. Sadly, 10 black individuals lost their lives and 3 others were hurt before he was finally arrested. Now in court, family members of the victims let him know how they feel about him.
While I was writing this, tears fell from my eyes. Thinking about what a beautiful person he took.
My daughter, Robbie Drury, was a young woman. She was not married. She had no children. She never will. Robbie was our youngest daughter. When people ask, how many children do you have? I don't know what to say.
You destroy our lives forever. It's not a day that goes by that I won't remember May 14th and being 2 minutes sooner. I could have been in that store. And all I think about is, could I have saved my aunt? Could I have helped her get away from the bullets? Or could my mom be suffering more and lose her daughter, her granddaughter, and her sister.
One of the most touching statements was from Barbara Massey.
My name is Barbara Massey. I'm Captain Massey's sister. You killed my sister. Cat was an aunt. She was a great aunt. She was a cousin. She was a friend. Cat said she was a committee of one. There's nothing Cat went to do. I want personally to choke you and be my favorite on your neck. Because it was unnecessary. You leave 200 miles to come to Buffalo. You don't even know any place. I want to choke you. Better stick to the place. You better say, "Cop, thank y'all for protecting me. Because I will hurt you so bad. You have made me sick. You got my family crying. I miss my sister every day. You don't like black people, man. You don't know a damn thing about black people. We're human. We like our kids to go to good school. We love our kids."
However, while she was speaking, a supposed family member wanted to let Payton know how he felt.
Never go to no regular. Don't do it.
Luckily, the police were able to calm the situation now. Now it's Payton's turn to speak.
I'm very sorry for all the pain I forced the victims and their families to suffer through. I'm very sorry for stealing the lives of your loved ones. I cannot express how much I regret all the decisions I made leading up to my actions on May 14th. I did a terrible thing that day. I shot and killed people because they were black. Looking back now, I can't believe I actually did it. I believed what I read online and acted out of hate. I know I can't take it back, but I wish I could. And I don't want anyone to be inspired by me and what I did.
You don't be that shit! Out of here! You don't be that shit!
Eventually, the judge reads her sentence.
The damage you have caused is too great, and the people you have hurt are too valuable to this community. You will never see the light of day as a free man ever again. It is the judgment of this court for your conviction under the first count of the indictment, a domestic act of terrorism motivated by hate in the first degree, an A1 felony, that you be sentenced to life imprisonment without parole.
Payton was sentenced to life imprisonment without the possibility of parole.
Lawyers are about as popular as Darth Vader and the tax collector, but no matter what you think about them, you had to feel awful for that attorney who got knocked out cold by his own client in a Kentucky courtroom this week. Well, the good news is public defender Doug Crickmer is out of the hospital, and he's back at the very courtroom where it all happened for us this morning. Doug, good morning to you.
This is Peter Hafer. He is inside Scott County Circuit Court in Georgetown, Kentucky. Peter Hafer really doesn't want this man, court-appointed lawyer Doug Crickmer, to handle his case.
Present me no more. Well, and the issue's that he just ain't doing nothing. He ain't doing nothing.
30-year-old Hafer was recently arrested for burglarizing a local Kmart store. Today at his pretrial hearing, he's begging the court for a new attorney.
Part of legally what Mr. Hafer wants is not permissible or would not be allowed by the court. I've tried to explain that to him.
Yeah, explain that.
Are you asking the court to represent yourself then?
No.
Because, you know, Mr. Crickmer has obviously several cases on this docket.
Every time he tells me something, he lies. So, I mean, you know, his word is no good. So how can I trust anything he says?
There's not an attorney in this town that's ready for a trial on February 25th or the 27th, and I'm not going to continue it at this point in time.
He don't even care. When I try to explain something to him, all he does is when I'm talking to him, back out the door.
Hafer just can't seem to get his point across.
I'm telling you, this ain't working. I'd rather have the prosecutor be my attorney than him. He'd probably give me a better trial.
It looks like Hafer and Crickmer are stuck with each other.
You got two guys here that are talking about one another as if the other guy's not even in the room. You can just feel that tension between these guys. You know something's going to happen.
Unfortunately, Mr. Hafer doesn't get to pick and choose his public defenders until such time as Mr. Barnes signs somebody else. I'll continue representing.
He just pops him right in the face.
Well, he definitely one-shotted me, that's for sure.
Defendants frequently get angry, and while they may want to go after the judge, oftentimes they'll settle for what they can get their hands on, which is usually us.
Watch that again.
Unfortunately, Mr. Hafer doesn't get to pick and choose his public defenders.
Hafer seems relatively calm until he doesn't. Hafer apparently landed several punches to the stomach and face of Crickmer before being restrained.
I can understand where he was coming from. He was frustrated. He's certainly nervous about his future. I wish Mr. Hafer no ill will.
Crickmer was admitted to Georgetown Community Hospital and released later that day.
I've had some bruising in the face, some swelling. I had a cut on my cheek. They took me to the hospital after it occurred, ran a CT scan, checked me over, and came out okay.
Although he did not file assault charges, Hafer was later found in contempt and sentenced to 6 months in prison. Also, Hafer eventually got the new attorney he requested, but was still found guilty of third-degree burglary and sentenced to a year in prison.
I should state, as a public defender, a majority of my clients are mentally ill or have a mental illness. Mr. Hafer's case, and I certainly don't fault him or blame him or wish him any ill will.
This is Joseph Zieler, a double murder suspect in Cape Coral, Florida. Back in May 1990, 11-year-old Robin Cornell and her babysitter Lisa Story were found sexually assaulted and murdered at their home. The gruesome scene was discovered by Robin's mom, Jan Cornell, who called 911.
Oh my God, please hurry! And please just calm down. Oh my God!
The case went cold for over 2 decades until Zieler was arrested in 2016 for shooting and injuring his son. His DNA was collected and entered into the database, which matched the DNA evidence from the 1990 crime scene.
Now, Joseph Zieler was actually arrested for another crime, and that's how detectives were able to get his fingerprints and DNA samples. His sample was put into a database called CODIS, and that database also stores unknown DNA samples, including those from the Cornell Story case. Now, when the system ran, that's when detectives got a hit linking Zieler to this 26-year-old murder case.
Zieler was further arrested and charged with capital murder. In court, prosecutors sought the death penalty.
The kind of factors which makes what the defendant did to Robin Cornell and Lisa Story so grave, so serious, that death is the appropriate recommendation, that death is the appropriate sentence.
Zieler then took the stands. He initially denied knowing both the victims and Jan.
Do you know Jan Cornell?
No, I don't know Jan Cornell.
Do you know Lisa Story?
No.
Do you know Robin Cornell?
No.
But later said his DNA was at the crime scene because he and Jan were involved in intimate acts the night before the murders.
And what I believe happened is I slept with Jan Cornell and Leanne Deller, and they were just too much of a pig not to wash their sheets.
He even called the victim's mother a pig.
Your DNA would have still been there 5 months later.
Yes.
And that's because they're pigs and they don't wash their sheets,
exactly.
Right? You know that?
Well, I assume that. Just like you're assuming that
But just so the record's clear, when I said they're pigs and they wash their sheets, that's what you said.
Absolutely.
Zieler then claimed that the prosecutor was framing him.
Well, the DNA witnesses, did you hear them say that they actually did retest NB32, that they actually took the sheet, recut another sample, and had another analyst do the same test? Did you hear that?
Yes.
So the retesting was done.
I believe FDLE is siding with the prosecution. Of course they're going to say that.
Eventually, the jury found Zieler guilty of first-degree murder.
Verdict. We, the jury, find as follows as to count 1 of the charge. The defendant is guilty of first-degree murder of Robin Cornell. We, the jury, find as follows as to count 2 of the charge. The defendant is guilty of first-degree murder of Lisa Story.
But what Zieler did next left the whole courtroom stunned. At his sentencing, Zieler appeared in handcuffs. First, he asked his attorney for a private discussion.
What's that?
As the attorney leaned in, Zieler threw a cheap shot with his elbow. Thankfully, the detectives quickly subdued him.
Are you okay?
I'm fine.
Meanwhile, the lawyer saw the funny side of the incident.
I used to box. I've taken a lot better shots than that. I had no idea he was going to do something like that. Obviously, he's been planning on that, but as he was going down, he said he was sorry he missed. Oh, he's been cooperative throughout the entire case. It's just, I mean, we've provided him with discovery. We've gone to see him and talked to him.
After the dust settled, it was time for Zieler to learn his fate.
The court's review of other capital cases has led the court to conclude that the death penalty would be a proportionate sentence in this case. Therefore, the court concludes that under the laws of the state of Florida, the defendant has forfeited his right to live.
He was sentenced to the death penalty.
Accordingly, it is ordered and adjudged that the defendant, Joseph Adam Zieler, is hereby sentenced to death for the murder of Robin Cornell and the murder of Lisa Story.